Hello friends, and welcome back to another episode of Entitled People. So let's get into it, guys. So someone posted a screenshot of a post they saw on Facebook. I believe it's part of a local neighborhood group. Here's what it says. Need advise. For the last several months, people have been walking around our cul-de-sac. Weird, as never happened before after owning our home over 50 years. It is one woman, no jacket. One man and woman, lightly dressed. Two women. Woman with baby and stroller. Pregnant woman. We are all elderly on our quiet street, and I am not sure what all this walking is about. Just really concerned. We all have multiple vehicles. We have a truck, an RV. Am I just overreacting? And a couple of these responses are saying things like, I've lived here 30 years and rarely saw people walking around, since younger people are moving into the neighborhood and such and such. Or this one, take pictures of faces, record times, and on and on. It sounds like these people need to get out and go on a damn walk themselves. It'd probably do them some good. This comment here says, my neighborhood Facebook and Nextdoor pages are full of crap like this. Did anyone see the van driving slowly down my street? It might be a kidnapper. Someone rang my doorbell today, and when I didn't answer, they left. It might be someone casing the house. Be aware, everyone. Drives me batshit crazy. Imagine going about your life with that much paranoia, where every single person passing by in your neighborhood must be some kind of criminal. Because how dare they? Anyway, moving on. Peanut allergies are less than her son's breakfast. I worked in daycare for a year and will now post all my entitled parent BS. I was a preschool assistant teacher and enjoyed many of the kids. 3 of the kids in our room had peanut allergies. One kid can just sense a peanut and gets instantly red. So as you walk into the room, you will see a big X on peanuts and other deadly allergies the other children have. One mom was late bringing her son into class. She is rushing him through the door with his breakfast. When I noticed his breakfast contained peanuts, I asked the mom if she can take the peanuts back home, and I would sit outside the classroom with her son to finish the rest of his breakfast. She looks up at me with so much rage. Why? She asks. I let her know that there are children in our classroom with horrible peanut allergies, and we do not allow any peanuts past this door. So he isn't supposed to eat because of these kids? No, he can still eat, just not peanuts. So we have to move our life around for someone else's child? I then just responded he just can't have any peanuts past this door. She then sat with them outside our classroom for him to finish his breakfast. She was calling, I assumed, her husband, to let him know how disrespectful I was to her, and then started crying. She went to my boss to let her know I told her that her son wasn't allowed breakfast. After watching the tapes with my boss, I was cleared to go back to my classroom. This comment here sums it up pretty well. We have a policy of trying to avoid traumatizing a room full of children by having them watch a classmate die, not to mention the terrible weight that the child that brought the allergen will have to bear. Entitled Lady claims she owns the road. The story begins earlier today, January 8th, 2023, when me and my family were riding around the neighborhood on dirt bikes and quads. For context, it is legal to ride around this area, as it is county land, and we were planning to go to the desert so we don't bother anyone. We do live on land, but not enough to ride around with my family, considering we are about 1.5 acres with horses. So we decided to go off around the neighborhood. My sister, who is 8, just got a dirt bike for Christmas and is having a blast on it. It's not anything big, a Honda CRF 80F, considering she is 8 and just started on an actual bike. We were going about 15 to 20, since my sister wanted to be able to keep up with us in 2nd gear, since she feels she is not ready for 3rd gear yet. The bike is a semi-auto 3-speed. So I was at my house at the time, and my mom calls me. She says that the ATV my grandma and step-grandpa were riding had stalled. So I hop on my quad to go save the day. They were parked on the side of a long stretch of dirt road, not too far from our house. I took the ATV for a minute and the gas was flipped off. As soon as I figured that out, the entitled lady comes out of her house. Are you guys aware that this is a residential area? She says. My uncle says, yeah, we just live down the road. She then starts to say, you guys are well aware this is illegal racing these things around here then? My mom starts to talk. Ma'am, we have lived here long enough to know this is in fact not illegal, since it is county land, and we are on a dirt road. In case you haven't noticed, plenty of people do this all the time. She then gets cut off. The entitled lady yells to her friend, who had just randomly appeared, "Did you get pictures of them?" Which her friend responded with, "Yep." Nothing was on, and they were about 10 feet away from each other. No need to yell. Now this next bit is pretty long, since she kept cutting us off with the same, "Stop yelling." She was the only one yelling, but my mom was getting a bit irritated and started raising her voice. This lady then goes on about how she owns the road. Yes, the road that leads to the main road, the most populated road for people living in this neighborhood. She claimed she owned. I tell my grandma and grandpa to just go home because it's a waste of time, and they had dinner in the oven. This lady starts swearing at us. I just start ignoring her and try to get the ATV started. I let my grandma and grandpa ride my quad home. They somehow figured out how to fit both of themselves on there. So anyways, she does not like that. She then yells about how I'm being disrespectful. I admit it was a little disrespectful, but she was just spewing out the same nonsense about how she owned the road and how it was illegal to ride motorized vehicles here. So I stopped trying to start it to try to pump some gas in it, since the ATV was pretty much starved of fuel for a good mile. She then goes on how someone was racing and comes to the conclusion it was us. Ah yes, because a family with an 8-year-old on a 70cc dirt bike would be racing up and down the road. I knew who she was talking about though, because some kids who were notorious for causing problems had been flying down the road on 2-strokes, and I saw them on the way to save my grandma and grandpa. Like, the dirt bikes we have and the 2-strokes sound significantly different, since everything we were riding at the time was 4-stroke, but she still pinned the blame on us. Eventually, I just signaled my family to follow me, because I started the ATV, and the lady continues to yell at us about how disrespectful we are for leaving. Honestly, I don't even care that I was, quote, disrespectful, because we were sitting there listening to her for a good 15 minutes, and we all got tired of waiting. So now I'm sitting at home while me and my family laugh about this, and as I type this story. Yeah, this is really one of those situations where there's really nothing you can do but just go on your way. She was obviously one of those types of people that just wanted to keep on yelling, and anything you do or say is not going to calm down the situation. Their whole intention is to just keep you there as long as possible and just continue to yell. So the only thing you can do is just ignore them and go. Am I the a-hole for not letting my neighbors camp on my land? I own 16 acres of woodland behind my house. It is very clearly my property, as there are signs up stating it is private property. I'm generally good with people walking through it, taking their dog on a walk or hiking, or even local kids playing, as it's a safe place and beautiful. And so long as they don't cause any damage or mess with the trees, I see no reason to get upset over this. An issue came up, however, tonight when I was on a walk, and I saw a fire through the trees. I admit I panicked, thinking a dog walker had been out and tossed a cigarette, or some local teenagers were setting fires for fun. I rushed out to check on it and try to put out the fire, and found one of my neighbors camping with their girlfriend and friends. It was a group of 5 people in their mid-20s, and they had a roaring campfire going. They got startled by me rushing up to them like that and asked me what the f I was doing. I asked them the same question back, and told them they couldn't camp here and they'd not asked permission to do so. This led to some laughter, and protests that they weren't doing any harm, and to lighten up. I told them to put the f***ing fire out and get off my land. I didn't want to risk a campfire there as it could easily get out of hand, especially when the group manning it were more than a little drunk. They ended up refusing, stating they weren't going anywhere and were not doing anything wrong. So I went home and called the police to get them off my property. They were made to leave and break up their camp. Am I maybe the asshole for this? They probably thought it was okay, as I'm good with letting people use my land in general. I maybe could have handled it better, but I'd gotten a fright seeing the fire and then how they responded. It just really got to me. I don't really think OP is in the wrong here at all. They mentioned that they're fine with people passing through the land on walks and whatnot, but there didn't seem to be any indication that it would be okay to camp on the land and start fires, especially without even asking first. But even then, maybe it wouldn't have been that big of a deal if they actually just left when OP asked them to. But they didn't do that. They straight up just refused to leave private property when they were asked to. So yeah, it was totally justified calling the cops on them, I think. Child tries to steal money. Parent says I should give it to him. This happened a couple years ago before COVID, but it still makes me laugh. Me and a friend were at a bowling alley. Not bowling, but playing pool at the front. The building also has an arcade and laser quest, etc. We were there midday, maybe 1 or 2 p.m. on a weekend, so the arcade was flooded with kids. Me and my friend were near the bar playing pool, away from the rest of the arcade. Pool was £1 a game, and the change machine that gave £1 coins didn't work, so we had to use the 50p machine near the arcade. I put a £5 note in the machine and went to put in a second, when a child comes over and tries to take the coins in the tray at the bottom. I notice him and put my hand in the way so he can't take them. Once I picked them up, he is trying to get the coins out of my hand. I bring my hands up so he can't reach, and he starts crying. When of course, his mother comes over to see the kid pointing at my hand and crying. I know it looked like I probably took something off him, so I was kind of awkward and didn't know what to say. I assumed she would be understanding and I tried to explain. She wasn't understanding. She started ranting that I must have took his money and wouldn't let me get a word in. Eventually, a member of staff comes over and asks what happened. With the child's mother ranting, another member of staff comes over and separates us. I explain I was just getting change, and the child was trying to take the coins from the machine whilst I was putting in another note. They understand and asked what I actually did when the child took the coins. I explained the kid didn't actually get the coins before I got to them. The person using the other change machine also vouches for me. I get the rest of my change and go back to my friend at the pool tables. I should note the entire time I was talking to the member of staff, the child was screaming and his mother hadn't stopped ranting. I'm not sure if the staff kicked them out or they left, but the last I saw of them was at the front door, with the member of staff stood by the entrance. I honestly feel kind of bad for the kid, who must have been only like 4 or 5 years old. He was wandering around unsupervised in an arcade, probably unable to even play anything, and then stuck with his ranting mother before being dragged out. Why take your kid to an arcade and not give them money to play anything? That's it for today, guys. Thank you for watching. Hit that like button if you enjoyed, and also subscribe to the channel for more Reddit shenanigans. So I'm out of here. Have a nice day, everyone, and until next time.